and welcome to the 2017 Longines FEI European Dressage Championships from Gothenburg, Sweden. Gothenburg might be famous for its many waterways, but it's the impressive Ullevi Stadium which takes centre stage as host to a week-long equestrian extravaganza. Following Germany's dominant gold medal winning performance in the team event, attention now turns to the individual classifications as the top 30 riders go head-to-head in the Grand Prix Special. Although no scores are carried over from the team event, Isabell Werth's superb 83.743 means she's once again going into the individual events as favourite to add to her remarkable collection of gold medals.
I know that I'm the top of the favorites, and this is a pressure I have to wear, and it's okay. But I know how quick it can change, so I'm happy and to compete. I really enjoy and excited to go in, but I do not feel the pressure that it becomes a drama if it's not working. So I will try.
Werth's biggest challenge could come from compatriot Sönke Rothenberger, who achieved the second best score in the team competition.
The Grand Prix Special is always a nice test to ride if you have a horse with a lot of movements, especially in the trot, because there's a lot of trot extensions. My horse is actually made for the Special, or the Special is made for my horse, because the trot extensions are really where he gets the most points, and also the passage and the piaffe work is really on our side there in the Special. So we'll have to see how well we can execute those parts of the test, and then we'll see what the judges give us.
Cathrine Dufour's inspired performance in the team event helped Denmark to their surprise silver medal. Could she be the rider that spoils the German party?
I did a very good Grand Prix trip with Cassidy, and I'm hoping that, this is the second time I enter the arena, so I'm hoping that he will be a bit more relaxed today, maybe. Now he knows everything, and the test is very good for him, so I'm just very calm and can't wait to go in there once again.
So on to the action. We join things with Great Britain's Spencer Wilton riding Supernova in the arena.
17th in the Grand Prix on 72.0%. Scored 77 in the Special at Harbury just recently, 78 in the Special at Compiègne, and won the Special on 76% at Doha Al Shakab earlier this season. First of the major changes is they turn the other direction off the centre line. They ride this first long extension, and instead now of doing the two steep half passes, they have a single half pass. It is of the same steepness, but they have this longer time to prepare, and now go from P to S. Another opportunity to show the extension. You can see here that Spencer sitting on 78.8%. Certainly the talk running up to these championships and in the British camp is that this is, the test that will suit this combination the best. And there a movement very specific to the Special, the passage to extension to passage. alongside, once again, the transition from passage to extension. And here, having turned left onto the line, they have to pick up right canter, so there's work to do for the rider there to ensure they have the correct bend and the correct aids to pick up that canter. We haven't seen it yet today, but there's very rarely a special that doesn't see somebody pick up the wrong lead. And now, instead of the zigzags in the special, we have these steep half passes. Exactly the same movements and markers as the steep trot half passes in the Grand Prix, but with the added difficulty of finding space each time for the flying change to complete each leg of the half pass. Solid set of 2 tempies for Spencer Wilton, still trending for the lead at the moment. Like to just be a percentage or two further up the tree, though. He rode superbly in the Grand Prix because, yes, the error is on the pirouette line, but Spencer also just had Supernova fade from under him once or twice just in the atmosphere, and he rode through that and reacted to it superbly. So here now the pirouettes. It's a big start and then tightens up. He went quite a distance from the line in the first stride or two. It's the 9-1 tempies on the centre line between the two pirouettes. That was good, the second pirouette to the right, very consistent. So the 9-1 tempies have cost him on that line, 4.7 the average. So final Piaf Passage line, a couple more marks on the table here. At the moment sitting on 74.75, anything averaging over 7.5 will help that running score. A great weight of expectation on Spencer, no doubt about it in this special test, but definitely riding the horse he's on the day. Still picking up averages of over 8 on the Piaf Passage on the final centre line as well. He can do no more, it's going to go into the lead, but a 78 or 79 we know this horse could do would have been a super achievement today. As it is, I think we're looking at 76 or 77 for Spencer Wilton and Supernova for Great Britain. Paces, Impulsion, Submission and Riders marks, the collectives still to come in across our 7 judges here in Gothenburg. So score for Spencer Wilton, 76.078, into the lead at the moment, but just about 1.1% in front of Alneda Kirk-Tingard, who led going into the last break. Therese Nilshagen and Dante Veltino. Top 30 ranked combination in the world, best of the Swedes.
Beautiful rider, gorgeous horse, beautiful, beautiful stamp, a lot of basic pace is such high quality. You know, you can see here he's got a lot of action. He bends his joints, lots of knee, lots of hops, but he's so lovely through his back. You know, I mean, it's a real Rolls Royce of a ride. I mean, you can see there uphill forward, really engaged hind leg. You know, ears pricked, black, nice tail. Not really much wrong with it, really. So yeah, so she unfortunately at Rio last year, same situation as myself this year actually. So the horse arrived in Rio, absolutely fine, worked it, absolutely fine, and then after its final workout before the trot up, somehow pulled a muscle, and it was unlevel in the vet's section. So she was had to withdraw and wasn't able to ride. So she's come back with a vengeance this year. Had a lot of success, and yeah, it's only 10 this horse. It's a very, very exciting horse, very exciting horse for the future. You know, I mean, it started off here where we've got an average of 79% at the moment. So, I mean, and this test really suits this horse. You know, you can see such ease through the extension, and you know, this is where we're seeing, you know, with this horse now she can ride full power into those extensions. I was saying before, you know, with some of the horses, there's a point they can't push them anymore because otherwise it affects their balance. By this horse, it just looks like she can just go more and more and more forward, and the horse just reaches uphill and forward. You know, that uphill tendency which allows the ride to really sit back and ride full power. I mean, that trot there, so much like a spider going across there, so much scope, so supple, so easy. You know, when they come into like that and they hold their balance up and they really sit up on the bridle, really good on your seat, you can just keep riding for that energy forward. And when Teresa adds energy to this horse, it just comes out in more scope in the step. It never sort of overrides the balance. So again here, gorgeous extensions. You know, half pass ride 8.1. Yeah, still sitting on 79% here.
So once again, the situation she finds herself in at the moment is just a few too many marks, averaging under 7.5, just bringing that running score down. When you're just in that range of 70 to 80%, then everything really affects you.
Well, you know, I mean, it's so hard to get that average up to those high 70s, and you know, you'll see probably one, maybe a couple that might go over the 80 today. It's so hard to do that. So when you have a couple of movements that drop you down, and even if you're only dropping down to an average of 7 a movement, it's then very hard to get that percentage right back up then, because you know, there's not, I mean, this horse had a lot of high marks, but you know, you go and get a 7 now, unless you can get a 9, you know, yeah, you don't bring that average back up. So now she's still very high, averaging 76.3 here.
You take the last half pass mark, for which we have an average score at 7.6.
Yes.
2 tempi 7.8. They're not going to make a big difference.
No. So I mean, if she can maintain that now, she's going to maintain this sort of mid 70% score. And so that's where, you know, it takes a lot to get the score up, but as soon as you lose it on a couple of those movements, it's incredibly difficult to lift it back up to those very high degrees.
Remember, our leader is on 76.0.
So at this moment, her running score at this point of the test would actually be, is actually leading. So she's got to be careful. So this is where this horse, a little bit of inexperience there, just tries to over-sit slightly. She's been very, very clever there. You notice how she come onto the centre line. She'll only just drift a little bit to the outside of the centre line there, so she could then get that turn in. As otherwise he would over-sit and she'd get stuck. Good tempo changes down the centre line. So again here she's going to come around. She's going to watch them fall too much to the right. You can see there, just sort of fell a little bit, then comes off the centre line. This horse has so much ability there, so much as trying to sit, so she has to just be careful it doesn't try too hard and then get stuck. But she's put in some really high quality marks. This current score is lifting back up now. Gorgeous extension there to finish down the long side. Down the centre line. And what she has to do now is sit up, smile and enjoy this. And there is going to be quite a big cheer at the end of this. Gorgeous piaffe. Gertie's just got to keep stepping forward. What you have to be very careful when a horse wants to do something like this, where it really comes onto the spot, is we get penalised a lot if the horse steps back crowd have now started clapping all the way, and so she's now going to realise that she's done something pretty special into this.
So should be good enough for the lead, and therefore a place in the Grand Prix freestyle. Therese Nilshagen and Dante Veltino. The slight bittersweet part of that is that it will be at the cost of Rose Matheson and Zeidenwins placed in that same class tomorrow. Just 3 riders can go through for Sweden. So Spencer Wilton held the lead through 11 horse and rider combinations, but now it's 78.543 that leads for Sweden's Therese Nilshagen and Dante Veltino. World #1 ranked combination, Isabell Werth and Weihegold, the individual silver medalists from Rio last summer. One of the medals that helped Isabell become the most successful Olympic equestrian rider of all time.
Amazing competitor, amazing rider, amazing producer of horses. I mean, on average, she always tends to have around 4 Grand Prix horses on the circuit at any one time. It is unbelievable what this lady does.
81% in the special at Aachen, which was only good enough for 2nd place. Such was the quality of the Aachen field. She scored 79% as well.
So, super quality mare. She starts off very carefully here. The mare doesn't have the most scope in the extension, but Isabell's very, very clever about how she rides it. So she makes sure that she keeps that balance, so the mare doesn't push too hard forward, and then she just allows slowly through that balance for that stride to open up. You know, she's the queen of half passes. She always gets them. Lovely crossing. Probably now our angle here, I'm not quite sure it's right, but it could look like it lacked actually a degree of suppleness to the left, which I cannot believe I'm saying about Isabell in a half pass, because she is unbelievable at riding them. But it could just be our angle. But you know, she starts off here 7.4 for the extended trot, which is about right. But this is where this mare's strengths are. Gorgeous passage, front and back and rhythm, and so good through the back. And then Isabell's being very careful here, so she's hardly pushing for an extension here. It's probably actually more of a medium trot. But what she's going to do is that she's saving the extensions so she doesn't lose a mark, and then she's going to really scoop up these marks. I mean, 9 for the first passage. So even with not getting great marks in the extension, this is where it's very intelligent riding. She knows where this mare's strengths are. So she's actually got a 7.4 for the extension, which maybe there's a couple of rider marks in that. Good quality, but could be more forward, but unbelievable passage. 8.9 average for the second one, and then lovely half pass again, really fluent, coming round. You watch this transition, beautiful. You know, and you look at the expression, the horse is active. You know, it's snappy, but it's supple in it, it's fluent in it, it's easy in it. Very good in the rhythm. And then she's going to go for a little bit more. She's supposed to be careful. So, you know, again, then this is where this mare in the extension, she has to be careful, because otherwise the mare tends to want to run. So she just balances enough, keeps it at a tempo where she can maintain that quality. 9.2 for the passage, so this average now puts her over 81%. 7.4 for the extension. Isabell fully focused. Nice extension, really relaxed through the body. You can see this mare's just really swinging over the back. Yeah, and what Isabell does as well, she gives the judges confidence. You know, Isabell is such a good test rider. You know, she gives the judges confidence to be able to give the marks. You know that bar a mistake, you know, it's going to be of high quality. So probably a little forward into that transition. You see the mare's getting a little stuck. So I would expect there with Isabell's experience, she felt that coming in, because she usually walks up to that and bangs that PR right on the spot. So she felt that. So what she did, she started a little early. She allowed it to travel a little bit to keep it. She's going into good passage, and now what she'll do, she'll get back, and now she'll get the usual PR for it.
Well, what you say about the confidence as well. How many times with Don Johnson did we see that horse spook, make a mistake, and the instant the next mark for 10 started, she was back in the game?
Yeah, I mean, very experienced, very quick, very clever. You know, so she's She's actually not getting quite the marks that she usually does for the Piaffe there, but she's not throwing many away. You know, she got 8 for the Piaffe there. Well, this mare can score 9s in the Piaffe, but what she did is she made sure she didn't lose any more marks. So when we sometimes, you know, we're talking here, we're talking about this maybe not being quite so good. We're talking about not being quite so good sometimes for what Isabell can produce on this mare. You know, it is all high quality work. Lovely. You see that bouncing canter, bouncing across, soft round the leg. You know, very easy. Maybe a little more supple to the right than the left, but still high quality. 8.2 for the collected canter, bounces through into the change. Also, you watch this mare in the change. She has a gorgeous hind leg, how it snaps forward and through. So careful getting straight. You know, almost the change stride is bigger than the canter there. She's still averaging over 80%. She always looks like she has so much time in the arena, Isabell. Safe, straight. 8.4 for the 2s. Good. And again, it's like an extended canter here. You know, she does like she does an extended trot. She just allows the mare to take. The mare's got so much want to go that she lets it go, and then she just manages. And then, depending on how good she is on the aid following her, she then sort of works out how much she can really go in the ground cover there. So it's always very clever riding here. It's tiny pirouettes there, lovely rhythm through it. Finish them quite early. Doesn't matter. Those changes between L and I there, so as long as it's between those two marks, it's fine. Again, really tight pirouette. She's got 9.1 for pirouette to the left, and that pirouette to the right is going to score very similar, I'm sure. Really nice into the transition here. She's being very careful, so she'll be careful how she goes here. So she's going to slowly allow her out. So again, not the boldest of extensions, shall we say. 9.2 for the right pirouette. So if you could say anything about the whole test here, you know, we'd like to probably see her a little bit more bold in the extensions, and then she had that slight issue into that first Piaffe. But the quality of the work that we've been seeing has been just superb. You know, she's sitting on 81% at the moment. Gorgeous into that, from that passage now, keeping that rhythm into the Piaffe, bouncing through, gorgeous transition out, and then onto that centre line. She knows what she's done.
Well, looking at that score of over 80% and the scores in the specials previously of our next 3 to come, she might have just locked up European gold here in Gothenburg. Weihegold and Isabell Werth, you know, 80 to high 80, almost catchable. All 3 of the remaining competitors have done 79% in the special, and today could be their day. But on what is probably now going to be 82.5 or more percent, so I think she's untouchable.
9.6 for the transitions, 9.6 for the last passage. So huge marks coming in through there.
.613 for Isabell Werth and Weihegold. They take the lead and may well be untouchable here at the Longines FEI European Dressage Championships.
Yeah, it still means so much to her. She's still so passionate about the sport.
So Cathrine Dufour and Utter Upgaard's Cassidy, the world number 7. Olympic Games last summer for Denmark. Their 76% was their special score in Rio.
Beautiful rider, Cathrine. Lovely horse, great partnership. You know, and again, you just don't see this very often, but coming through from the young rider level now into the championship level at Grand Prix. Certainly one of the leading combinations in the world now. They're getting better and better every test they do. they get better and better, moving up the rankings. Yeah, and this horse has an awful lot of highlights, so it should be a very exciting test. She's very clever at presenting this horse in such a lovely manner. Watching it work outside here, doing some stunning work outside.
Individually third in the Grand Prix on 78.3 the other night to help Denmark to silver.
So here, lots of expression, lots of want, lots of, she wants to really bounce. She's got to make sure, again, it just stays forward to the bit, keeps carrying her forward. You can see here in the extension, really takes the bridle nicely forward, full extension, full power, good transition back. Now she's just got to make sure he just sort of sits up, gets a balance. She's got to keep him thinking a little forward. You can see there, he just gets sometimes thinking a little bit slow on that hind leg and just keep encouraging, but he's got so much expression. She's just got to keep encouraging into that little bit of ground cover. Forward into the positioning, and then we go. So you see that, as I say, I said before, with this test, they, after that passage, they trot forward, they get that softness before they add that outside leg. So it's so easy to find that from that half pass 8 and canter 8, they're so close that they can get confused. And we've seen at least one combination there where they did hit canter instead of the half pass, and it's so expensive. So good transition here. She's just got to keep him up to the bridle, keep him forward. So when I say forward, I mean just the horse pushing. He's got to stay collected in the passage for a really high march. You can see there, really, it's pushing forward, but really nice in the collection. Gorgeous transition there into the extension. Lovely frame. Really nice front and back, tracking up. Very good transition there. She's working just to remind him just to stay up and stay thinking forward. Because this horse, if it starts to get a little bit behind her, it starts to push a little bit wide behind, and that's just when she keeps him at that little bit forward and he's pushing, and he closes, and then you get that real high quality. 8 for the extended trot, 7.9 for the transitions. Really nice extended walk, good relaxation. 8 for the passage. So she's just rolling out these high 7s, 8s all the way through. Careful into this collected walk, round through the turn, getting him straight. Let that centre line come up to her, and she'll start to pick him up, close the leg, and then into the very good piaffe there, really good sitting on the spot, uphill, good energy. The turn, just get him straight, get him forward, let the centre line come up to her, and she's going to sit up, and she'll just ask her to sit up and wait, right that hind leg forward. She's got to be careful it doesn't step back. Yeah, this horse sits so much, and you can see on the spot she's got to be careful it doesn't step back on her. Very good. 7.9 for the passage. She's started picking up some marks through this work here. Good in the passage round here through the turn. She'll come out of the turn, she'll just remind him that she's going to go right. And then she's going to think forward a stride into the canter to get that transition. 8.1 for the transitions between the piaffe passage. So she's now averaging up at 79.2%. Nice little pat there before the corner. It's nice to see as well that, the riders can have the time there just to praise the horse, give the horse some confidence. So round into the corner, good bending. Just keep encouraging the sideways jump, keeping it forward. Lovely change through there. Really supple as well. You saw through the change there, it was just such a soft, expressive jump through into that left half pass, up. Lovely change again. Beautiful riding. She's just got to maybe think a little forward. Some very nice expressive changes. Just keep the ground cover. him thinking forward. Very good. Lovely. And again, you can see the expression in front and back, front and hind leg matched. 8 for the half pass left. Yeah, she's got to keep drawing out these 8s just to keep that percentage up and that pressure on. Forward 7.8 for the 2. So yeah, that's where you could just have a little bit more ground cover, because otherwise he gets very expressive but just lacks a degree of push. Still high quality, but to get over those 8s, to get those 8s, 8.5s, and up into the 9s, then you're looking for that, the quality that she's getting, plus a little bit more power in the push.
So remember, Therese Nilshagen's on 78.5 in the clubhouse. Cathrine wants to be in front of that to have any hope of taking a medal here today.
Good extension, back, good clean change. So it's certainly going to be very close to the top here for these. So she's come round through the turn, holding up from those left aids, and then softening them through, bringing around. Very nice pirouette. Keep it. She's going to be looking down. So look at that big grin as she comes out. She knows she nailed that left pirouette. Lovely changes there. Very good. So 8.3 for the extended canter. She's going to get a good mark for that pirouette. Just keep it going. Canter, very small. Yeah, another big grin coming out of that pirouette. She knows 8.4 for the first pirouette, 8.1 for the 9s. If she can get another 8 point something for that right pirouette, and she keeps the extension and then the centre line, she could creep up and maybe hit that 80%. 8.2 for the pirouette right, average 79.4 here. It's getting rather exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, and collective still to come, of course. It's just got to be error-free and as good as it has been so far on this centre line.
She just has to nail this centre line now. She's got to keep him up, keep him forward, keep the rhythm. Gorgeous quality in the passage. I mean, from the side on view, it's stunning. 8.2 for the extended trot, 79.5 here. Just keep him thinking forward. Don't let him step back. Don't let him step back. Good, good. So while he thinks forward into that, she can keep it on the spot. The crowd's getting very excited. Just don't upset the rhythm. This is the only thing here that she's still getting marked here. This crowd's getting excited. If it has a positive effect on your horse, it's amazing. But if he'd happened to get excited there by the crowd, it would have been so unfortunate, but it hasn't. Brilliant test.
They've done 79, maybe they're going to do 80. Cathrine Dufour and Atterupgaard's Cassidy will go into second place for the moment. 79.789 in second place for Cathrine Dufour and Atterupgaard's Cassidy. So now it is the turn of Sönke Rothenberger and Cosmo. Sönke with the 10-year-old Cosmo, already an Olympic horse.
Your parents were very successful Grand Prix riders within themselves. Yeah, and this horse has been on the circuit a couple of years at Grand Prix, and you'll see here when we come into this first extension, huge scope in its basic paces, very, very high quality, gorgeous to look at. And so it'll be very exciting to see how this test progresses through.
Sönke just 22 years old. He was 10th in the special at Rio, but didn't get his chance in the freestyle because of that rule. The 3 better Germans qualified through to the music class.
I mean, you know, 22, he could have actually done the under-25 Grand Prix here.
Yeah.
But no, let's go on the German team and go and ride for an individual medal myself.
And spent a good bit of time away from the sport, concentrating on his show jumping as well.
Yeah, he was a pony rider, and then he went into show jumping, and then he's come back to the dressage. So we've started off now on an extended trot, 9.1, so average of 82. But, you know, young horse, but it's been a very consistent horse as well. You know, the last 12 months, very, very consistent through the tests. Did a very, very good job at Aachen this year, so we know it can hold its nerve in atmosphere.
Yeah, 3 years ago, they were the bronze medalists at the Young Rider Championships as well, so when Cosmo was just 7.
Scary, isn't it? It's a gorgeous extension here, and again, you know, this is where it works for this horse. Big extensions, lovely half passes, lovely passage. So the whole first half of this test sort of really works for them. So sitting on 83 at the moment. you know, this horse doesn't really have a weakness. It's got high quality work in everything. Just got to keep pushing him again forward. Just, you know, lots of expression here. Just keep bouncing forward, keeping that rhythm. You know, the same size step, the same height in the step, every stride. That's it, just giving himself time in the air just to hang that leg. And now forward, making sure he stays tracking up. Loads of expression with the front leg, keeping that hind leg pushing forward so we get that ground cover, and then up into that transition, into the passage. Lovely transition. 8.4 for the passage before the extension.
When you compare that back to the passage and extension for Isabell, Isabell's, although she was showing extension, it looked like it was in slow motion in comparison to what he did.
Yeah. I mean, you know, one of this horse's real strengths is extension, and actually, if you talk about with Isabell's horse, probably its weakness is the extension. But you know, Isabell's weakness is still a highlight. Yeah. Yeah. So. But yeah, so you know,
Isabell's weakness is she sometimes wins silver.
Yeah, absolutely. So you know, you know, Sönke he can really be bold through that. You know, where Isabell, as you say, yeah, almost slow motion through that because she's very clever at making sure she doesn't throw any marks away. You know, so therefore she still ends up on a fairly good mark. So forward here in the piaffe. So again, you can see just edges them forward. You can see this is characteristic of a lot of the piaffes here. What they do is that they just keep thinking and edging the horse forward, making sure you keep it positive. You do not want the horse to step back. You do not get penalised as much if you edge forward as if they step back. The step back is a big no-no in anything. So again, here he's going to keep stepping forward. You know, he's not going to get huge marks for that amount of ground cover, but he's not going to throw any more marks away, so he's just trying to keep it positive. But then what you do is you get the good transition marks. So yeah, 8.3 for the passage, you know, which again is a highlight here, and he keeps pulling these marks in over 8, so that keeps his percentage up around the 80%. Look, very good transition into the canter there. So you got 7.8 for the piaffe, and then 7.9 for the transition. So then that was him being clever at just that small amount of ground cover, which allowed those transition marks to stay up nice and high.
So neck and neck with Isabell Werth on the running score at the moment.
They're actually neck and completely. The running score and Isabell's score at this point were on exactly the same. Or is he just overtaken her?
No, just...
No? No, they were, weren't they? Yeah. They were exactly the same. So she's now 0.1 ahead at this point, but you know, again, look at this canter, just bounces off the floor. It's like a ball of rubber, this horse. Always up in that nice frame, beautiful riding, lovely changes, lots of ground cover, lots of expression, bounces all the way through. It's going to take the whole diagonal to get them in, and that bounces the last one in there, stride before K. She's just snuck ahead. Couldn't talk through them. No. Gorgeous changes. This is so close. This is so exciting.
So the two tempos were 9.3, and that forward riding, that, you know, that underlying extension is going to help.
Yes.
Is being rewarded.
Very nice extension. It's 9.3 for the ones. Oh, and then he made that mistake at the end of the extension. Let's see if the judges were blinking or having a look at their test sheet when that happened. Very good pirouette, nice and tight. Extending canter 6.7, but he is still slightly ahead. Lovely pirouette, 8.3 for the pirouette. Lovely tempi changes down the centre line. Come on, hold it. Keep that canter. Use those long legs. Come on. Good. Forward. So he's just dropped in behind Isabell. So he's going to have to ride now for these last few lines. And Isabell got some really high marks coming down on this last centre line, so he's going to have to really go for it.
A score of over 80% is guaranteed an individual medal here today in the special. Remember, Isabell, her score there, 81 on your screen. She topped out at 83.6.
Gorgeous passage here now, coming down this centre line. So 8.1 for the collected trot. Did he go up? He's got to keep him forward. Forward. Good. Good. Very lovely, seamless transitions. They're gorgeous passage coming in. Seamless transitions, and now this is where again we hope that the crowd doesn't upset the horse and create a rhythm mistake, but the horse is holding it together. Lovely passage through, 8.6 for the first passage into the final hole. 22 years of age, riding a 10-year-old horse, and he can come round in that pressure and ride that test.
Olympic gold last summer, European gold this summer, and now almost certainly an individual medal in the special for 22-year-old Sönke Rothenberger and Cosmo. 82.451. Sönke Rothenberger and Cosmo are in the medals. Carl Hester and Nip Tuck, the final rider today in this individual competition, the world #3 ranked combination. It was Nip Tuck who finally gave Carl the win at his home World Cup show in Olympiad, taking that victory in 2015 and 2016.
So, has a little bit of experience on his side, this man. So, you know, I mean, world-renowned rider, trainer. You know, nerves of steel, Carl. So this is an interesting test for this horse because Barney's strength is not the extensions, but his strength is the collected work, the passages and things like that. He's got gorgeous half passes. But Carl's an extremely clever rider, so again, he's going to know how much he can actually ask for the horse here. So you can see here lots of power through this half pass. Good bending, good positioning. A lot of power, you can see that. So much push through the whole body there, really supple. But he started off with a 6.7 for the extended trot, so yeah, this is where it doesn't work for him. But here, Carl's very good, very clever here, really nice passage, lots of expression. Now he has to just make sure again that Barney, as he's called, doesn't sort of try and overachieve in this, and then he starts to get a little bit of a rhythm mistake behind, so he just gets a little bit double beat, so he's just keeping him relaxed, keeping him forward, and then he's just going to, he's just going to have to be careful in his extensions. He's just got to manage the rhythm, make sure he holds the rhythm, and just as bold as he can, but then gets those transitions in.
I mean, the situation at the moment is those top three, Isabell Werth, Sönke Rothenberger and Cathrine Dufour, have maybe closed the door on a medal today for Carl. But if he can get through in the top 5, he's in the big money tomorrow.
To be perfectly honest, Carl's not riding a special for an individual medal. He knows this horse is not an 80% special horse. What Carl does know is that tomorrow in the freestyle, he can ride for a medal.
Yeah.
You know, so this for Carl is to get the best score possible to get a good draw for the freestyle. He needs to be, you know, he wants to be later on in the draw tomorrow for the freestyle. Tomorrow is the horse's strength, it's Carl's strength. They have an amazing freestyle, high degree of difficulty. The freestyle suits the horse down to the ground. You know, he was third at the World Cup final, and he has got a very high chance of winning a medal there tomorrow. So this for Carl is about getting as best mark he can just to get the draw for the freestyle tomorrow. So he's just got to be careful here. So you can see there, you know, as I say, you know, it's not his strength there. He runs out of balance, so Carl's very careful in how he rides it forward. So, you know, 7.1 for the passage.
So 75.5 would be required to get into the best of the draw, the final 5, to overtake Patrick Kittel.
Yeah, and so how you work through the test with a horse like, or how Carl works through the test with a horse like this, is he saves his marks in the trot and he gains his marks in the canter. He has a beautiful canter tour. You know, it was the same in the Grand Prix. I think after the first half of the test, he was averaging 71, and then all of a sudden the canter comes in, and he's got so many high marks in the canter. So Carl's going to be as correct as he can through this, not lose any marks. And you can see there, very good transition there into the Piaffe. Barney's got good energy there, so you can see there's very little trouble. You can see where C is, he's hardly going forward, and he's just got to be careful in that transition. This is where Barney just loses that rhythm a little bit. He has to be very careful. You know, and that just affects that mark very slightly. There's 0.2, 0.3 that'll start dropping off that mark, off the average mark I'm talking about. So good average for the collected walk. Good transition to the first PR. Second PR good, and again you can see C there. He's hardly creeping forward there. So that's going to help with the mark, 7.3 for the transition mark. So he's now starting to climb up again. He's 74% now. You know, so he's you know, he doesn't get the marks through those extensions. He gets some marks in the collections. He gets some marks from not making a mistake. And now he'll be able to really ride confidently into the canter. Carl likes his canter as well. It's his favourite pace. So lovely impression there. I mean, he sits beautiful. So 6.1 for that second passage there before the canter. So lovely half pass, really supple, nice and fluid, good bounce, jumping off the floor, lovely change, same amount of bend back to the left. Very easy, very safe, but with good energy, so that's going to mark well. And if he can just keep creeping up these, just knocking out an average mark of a 7.5, 7.6, 7.7, 7.9 for that half pass there. He can get a few 8s under his belt. So he's just going to pick himself back up and then put himself into the top part of that draw. Lovely changes. You know, we can't see from this angle, but his changes are incredibly straight as well. So 7 point now at 9 for the half pass left.
The trouble with being in the middle part of the draw, 6th to 10th, is they're drawn randomly. You could start 6th and before the judging break in the whole freestyle. So it's critical to be in the top 5 and in that final mix.
Yeah. Yeah, and as I say, I mean, he knows he's in with a real chance for a medal tomorrow, and that's what he came here for. You know, we came here to try and get the team medal. Unfortunately, we finished 4th, but individually he's coming for that medal in the freestyle.
Second best European at the World Cup finals, finishing 3rd overall.
It's 8.4 for the 15 ones, you know, so he's now climbed up, you know, he's now 74.7. So Carl hold it. Very good pirouette. Really nice pirouette. So much time, so easy. Get him straight. You get him straight, and then you go forward and bang into the lines. 7.9 for the extended canter. Good collection, you can see, gets some supple through in the bend there, so good shape around the inside leg through the turn. The horse just canters around the inside leg there, around its inside hind leg into a really nice pirouette. 8.3 for the left pirouette, so he's up to 75.5 now. So now
that's where he needs to be to overtake Patrick Kittel for a top 5 finish.
So now he's just being very careful here in this last extension, so he doesn't throw a mark away. And now he's going to ride for everything he's got down this centre line. So 7.6 for the collector trot. So he's 76% now. He'll drop down very slightly from the extended trot, but then he should be able to pick those marks nicely back up. Lovely passage there. Just keeps that rhythm down that centre line. So 6.8 for the extension. He's still on 75.8, and now he should get some high marks for this passage. Passage on the spot. Good. Good. Down this last centre line now. We have to be careful the crowd doesn't get too excited here, because Barney does get affected sometimes, and it affects the rhythm of the hind leg, but he's holding it together. Lovely last passage. 7.9 for a passage. Down into the hole. 8.2 for the transitions. Carl's going to be very, very happy with that.
So he will go as one of the final 5 riders in the freestyle, and that's exactly where you need to be, really, if you want to stand a chance of a medal.
Carl's finished on 76.7, which is 5th place, so that's put him.
Yeah, that is what we wanted to see.
He wanted to see.
5th in that ranking box, 76.778 for Carl Hester and Nip Tuck for Great Britain. Top 5 today, the best of the starting draw tomorrow for Great Britain's Carl Hester. Isabell Werth, champion of Europe once again. Sönke Rothenberger and Cosmo, 22 years old, in 2nd place. Cathrine Dufour, Atterupgard's Cassidy, in 3rd. Then it's Therese Nilshagen and Carl Hester in the best group. Spencer Wilton still held on for 6th place on 76.078. Patrick Kittel 7th, Anna Kasprzak and the 18-year-old Dom Perignon in 8th position.
I'm so happy to really win today again, and Vi is in a fantastic shape. I said this already, and we could bring it in the competition, and she showed really a perfect and very provisional test, and I'm super happy.
Of course, we don't have the routine yet, and we still miss bits and pieces there. And like, for example, after the gallop extensions, that last change. Yeah, but I'm really happy with the big mistakes I had on Wednesday, and now to ride nearly fault-free test, but still some bits and pieces is really nice.
2 dressage events down and 2 gold medals for Isabell Werth. But can this remarkable horsewoman make it 3 out of 3 in the concluding freestyle discipline? Join us for more top-quality equestrian action from Gothenburg. From me, Rupert Bell, it's goodbye for now.